Let's freaking go. Ha, ha, ha. We got a juicy one tonight. Feeling good because my guy, Ed, is already super chatted. And of course, the big topic right now in LSU athletics is the transfer portal. And I know a lot of you are really excited about this tweet that went viral from Dean Blevins. So, you see the poll question. Caleb Williams, do you think LSU will land him? I don't think they will. I don't mean to mislead anyone. But the point isn't, will LSU land Caleb Williams? The question is, will they try? And they absolutely should. And I understand, I've been debating with some LSU fans on Twitter about this, and we've been talking about this for weeks now. But this is the simple truth, is Caleb Williams is a far better quarterback than Garrett Nussmeier and Miles Brennan. I'm not willing to say he is way better than Walker Howard because his upside is absolutely insane. But the issue here, guys, is, I was discussing this, and this was the main pushback that I kept getting. That, okay, look, Carter, if Caleb Williams comes, what if Miles Brennan and Garrett Nussmeier transfers? And you guys know I'm big on Miles. I'm big on Nuss. But the issue is that they are not Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, up to this point, has done something really rare. He has produced at an elite level, and he still has 2 years of eligibility remaining. And the issue here is, if he is interested in coming to LSU, we should not let Miles Brennan, Garrett Nussmeier, and whoever else get in the way of that, right? So it's just simple. LSU should push for Caleb Williams. We don't know how accurate this report is, but when you can get a future first-round pick at quarterback, you absolutely do that. You do. So there's just no other way around it. Now we get to Jermaine Burton, which is obviously someone that a lot of you know from recruiting. Jermaine Burton out of California was committed to LSU for a long time, just for him to flip to Georgia at the very last second. He was one of 2 top 100 receivers that actually did that in that 2020 cycle. The other was Raheem Jarrett, and they both have turned out to be really good wide receivers. Jarrett is going to stay at Maryland, but Jermaine Burton is a real deal threat. He was a big-time contributor on a national championship team. So he's got championship experience, he's clutch, and he is a legitimate deep threat, right? And I will say that Jermaine Burton is not a Kayshon Boutte type of talent, but he is no less than Jack Bech, right? I consider them about equal. I would still take Jack over Jermaine Burton, but I would probably take Burton over every other LSU wide receiver that we currently have. And you guys know how biased and how much I freaking love Jeray Jenkins. Burton is better, right? So it's pretty freaking crazy that we are in this spot. But I do think LSU has a good shot at landing Jermaine Burton because obviously the elephant in the room is that Cortez Hankton, as wide receiver coach, decided to make the move from Georgia to LSU. Now we get to Blanche's super chat. When Brian Kelly brings Caleb Williams to LSU, do you think Eric Gilbert will return because LSU is so thin at tight end? I don't think Eric Gilbert is ever going to come close to not only playing at LSU, we're to the point now we don't even know if he's ever going to play again. You can easily see a lot of different scenarios play out for Eric Gilbert. But here's the thing, he's so freakishly talented that he never has to play a down of college football again, and the NFL will still give him a workout. And not only tight end, but defensive end as well. That's how big of a freak athlete that kid is. look, the NFL's dealt with many head cases at the receiver and defensive end position, and teams will work around that if you have that type of upside at two different positions, but more notably, obviously, tight end. So, yeah, Eric Gilbert's never coming back to LSU. Thank you for the super chat, though, Blanche. I deeply appreciate you. Don't forget, okay, Caleb is using LSU as leverage to get more sunscreen. And that's probably what's happening here as well. So what we're dealing with now is a new form of free agency, right? With the NIL, Caleb Williams is floating rumors out there that he might go to LSU when we all know he's probably going to go to USC. My major point, and Ed, I think you would agree with this as well, is that if there is real interest with Caleb Williams going to LSU, you absolutely do it, right? The kid was not good, not great, but elite until the end of the season where some true freshman regression started to set in. There's no other way around it. Caleb Williams had some moments where he was just awful. Obviously, the Kansas game in the first half, and then, just at times at the end of last year. But as a true freshman, the kid put up an 86 QBR, which is really freaking good, right? So we shall see what happens. Tommy, what's up, man? I get so excited. Tommy and Tracy, what's good? I heard Dart is going back to USC. Tommy and Tracy. I love how you guys just chatted each other during the chat. I'm like, you guys are married. But I love it. I think one of you are watching on one phone, and then another one of you are watching on another phone while you have me on the big screen, and you're like, I want to get my chance in. I love it. But Ed, you're a wise guy. Scott says, I think Caleb is going to USC. Good news is that LSU won't play USC until 2020. Scott, look at you. Look at you. Look at you, Scott, with your gorgeous significant other. And look, I'm cultured, okay? That is Australia right in the background. Because look, I think that's the Australia Opera House. Like the famous, I don't know. Shout out to Australia. And if y'all are Australian, McClendon, okay? Nick! Carter, tell my smoking hot wife, Tracy, hello. Well, look. Hello, Tracy. This is how big we're getting it as a channel. We have a husband wanting me to holler at his wife. No, Tommy and Tracy. Guys, thank you for your support. I really do appreciate you guys. What's up? Jason, you've always been the Xavier Carter guy. Okay. Now, here's something I want to go on ahead and say. All right. You know how we always say, okay, I called it. I called it. I must say that Jason has been calling Xavier Carter the next Arden Key. Okay, Jason, if Xavier Carter, if you're watching this man right here, I can link you up, Xavier Carter, with this man. He, out of anyone in LSU, in the history of LSU football, no one has belief in Xavier Carter, number 17, best last name of all time, than Jason. His advisor is being a D-bag. I won't advise him on what to take. Interesting. We desperately need, Xavier Carter going into next season, not only as an actual linebacker, but as a special teamer. He was really good on special teams for us this year. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I hope we get him back because we need linebackers. Uh-oh. Jay Hill, I need to get Debo on here. Link it up. And you guys know I'm not fronting. Jay Hill, so last night, I'm not gonna say some of the stuff that Jay Hill and I were talking about, but I reached out to Jay Hill and I was like, do you know Dwayne Bowe? I freaking love Dwayne Bowe. I have a bunch of his rookies. I'm just a big fan, right? I honestly think Jamarcus Russell, Dwayne Bowe in that era is a little underrated, right? Especially now that we know what we know about Les Miles. Those guys were underrated. We can agree. It didn't help that Matt Flynn and Joe Burrow and all the other great wide receivers have happened. And look, both of those guys are arguably better than Jamarcus Russell. Well, Burrow definitely is, right? I'm a huge Dwayne Bowe guy. And he had that tweet about Matt Castle that was very interesting. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. And then Matt Castle clapped back at Dwayne Bowe. But Jay Hill, you know how much I freaking love me some Dwayne Bowe. I need him on the channel. Like we need a push for Dwayne Bowe to be on here because he lives a very interesting life now, and I have to know more. I do. I looked at his Instagram. I was like, D Bowe, you got bars, baby. I think LSU actually makes sense for Caleb. Maybe even more sense in USC. To be the best, you have to play against the best. I love it, Blanche. You know what's interesting, right? So you look at all the quarterbacks in the playoffs right now, and I think moving forward that we're going to see more quarterbacks come from the elite schools, right? Jared, thank you for your super chat. I'm going to try. Man, Debo's a different breed now. He's different. He is very different. He's I saw him do an interview with a good stand-up comedian, one that I like a lot, named Giannis Pappas. It was so funny. And I feel me and Debo would get along, right? I mean, he's an LSU legend. But, it's just so hard to compare, like, Michael Clayton, Josh Reed, Dwayne Bowe to, Jamar, Justin, and Terrace, right? Even though those three are probably better than all of those three, it's just difficult, right? But Dwayne Bowe is definitely top 10 LSU wide receiver of the modern era, right? Right? Is he top 10? Is he top 10? Justin, Jamar, Terrace, better. Odell, Jarvis, better. Okay, those five are definitely better. Michael Clayton, Josh Reed, probably better. So, yeah, Debo's in the top 10, comfortably. Yeah, we're not getting Caleb. Sorry, folks, but it would love the triple Bs of Burton, Pute, and Besh in the slot. That's good. How effing scary. I love that you, Daniel, lowered the language here. I like it. I like that. I like the F word when people just say effing. How scary would it be? Embry or Kane in the backfield with Lewis at tight end? Some Danny Lewis love tonight. Let's go. Cole Taylor's watching this and be like, look, this dude from Team America World Police thinks I'm no good. Daniel, don't sleep on Cole Taylor. I've always said Cole Taylor was year 3. Obviously, his tape up to this point has not been great, blocking or receiving, but I've always said he's year 3, right? And it's hard to play this sport as a 3-star recruit out of Colorado against the best athletes, in the country, when he shouldn't even have been playing these last couple of seasons as much as he's had to play because of obviously, Eric Gilbert committing to Florida in a Family Dollar. So, look, it's not Cole Taylor's fault that he's played so much up to this point. Then, we'll see as far as the issue with Jack Mashburn, right? Obviously, Jack was really good for us this year. The neck roll. Like, you have to admit, a neck roll is intimidating. Like, my favorite college football linebacker ever, taking my LSU bias out. So, take Devin White out, take Brady James out, take Kelvin Shepard, whoever you want to mention. Take them out. My favorite SEC linebacker was Al Wilson, right? And then Patrick Willis came along, and Patrick Willis, to me, is the best SEC linebacker of all time. And then Devin White's number 2, right? They'll come at me with Dat Win, even though I love me some Dat Win at Texas A&M, but he wasn't in the SEC at the time. And I already know the Bama fans are going to come in here and say, what about Rolando McClain? And then the Georgia fans are going to come in and say, what about Nakobe Dean? But the answer is Patrick Willis. Come on. You guys know this. The answer is Patrick Willis. And there's no debate. No debate. Hey, guys, if Jermaine Burton comes to LSU, do we let him wear his jersey number? Oh, yeah, his number is 7. No. I'm done giving number 7 uniforms out to players that have never suited up for LSU, because we saw what happened last time when we gave the number 7 jersey out to someone who had never played for LSU. And out of all the bad decisions Ed Orgeron has ever made, that was probably the worst. Yeah, you don't give the number 7 jersey out to someone who's not proven to wear the purple and gold. So, because Black Goatee is, oh yes, I forgot about Brandon Spikes. Yes, I was actually in the end zone where he punted the football. Yeah, he was a monster. Brandon Spikes was a monster. Okay. So, look, Black Goatee, I love that number 7 uniform, right? Jason shouts out Allie Highsmith, Burt Jones, Alan Risher, some great number 7s before it actually became a thing with Patrick Peterson, right? So, look, I'm all for the number 7 uniform. I think it's cool that you have this tradition, but it's got to go to someone who has proven that they've been that dude at LSU, because it's different when you put that number on at LSU. It could be a little intimidating as well. So here's what I think the number 7 jersey is going to do these next couple of seasons. I think Kayshawn's going to wear it next year. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. And then the number 1 uniform is going to go to, I don't know, probably Malik. And then I actually think the number 7 uniform for 2023 will be worn by Jack Besh, who wore number 7 in high school, which would make a lot of sense. Jack, his junior year, is going to catch no less than 70 or 80 passes, which is pretty good. And, obviously, we haven't had a number 7 at wide receiver since DJ Chark. I know Jamar Chase, but he never actually played. We'll see. Number 7 to Jacoby Matthews in 2024. I hope. Oh, Danny Girl. Hey, I found 2 decent centers in the portal. Need Davis to watch the channel so I can tell him. I'm telling you. Danny, I've already reached out to Brad Davis and say, look, there's someone who only cares about the center position. Her name is Danny, and you should listen to her. She knows her stuff. She's ready to move on from the Liam Shanahan Harvard era, right? Besh will be an 18. I could see that. Walker to Besh is going to be lethal. Can't wait to watch out SEC. Hey, Victoria. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel, Victoria. I think this is your first time. What do we have here? We have a butterfly graffiti action going on here. Where is this? It looks like, I think I've seen that in Nashville or Memphis. I don't remember. Max, New York chapter of PHL. Let's get it. So we are about 20 or so minutes into this. And the good news is that we do have new shirts. And guess what? You could join the T-shirt club. Tomorrow in the mail, Jeremy will be getting his, actually I'm shipping out Jay Hill's shirt tomorrow. He's part of the T-shirt and Booger Band Club. It could be like Jay Hill right now. And for $40, you can get an LSU PHL shirt and a sticker and LSU cards, right? And for the first person that buys a T-shirt tonight, I'm hooking you up with an autographed LSU card We actually have quite a few, but I don't give out autos all that often because they are so rare. Rob is in here somewhere. Rob got a Craig Stelz auto tonight. Why not? I'm giving out a Matt Flynn auto. Matt Flynn auto to the first person that buys a shirt. And it's a pretty sweet autograph. I can actually just got it. So there you go. Walker. I think Walker's going to wear number 4 because his dad wore it. All right. Dwayne, what's good? Bo, you want to know what's interesting? So I was in, just to shout out Jay Hill. I know he's, become a fan of the channel, and Jay Hill and I, it's really cool that we get to chat often now. This was really cool. So guys, you're going to love this story. So I was in Vegas this past weekend, and I was just walking around, and I was not necessarily shocked, but it was so interesting to see a lot of Jeremy Hill jerseys. I saw 3 at the Bengals watch party at like Circa, where it's a casino sports book. So Jay Hill still has some fans in Cincinnati, and it's cool because now Bengals fans can really start to see the influence LSU has had on them. And it actually goes all the way back. Brett, who was a t-shirt buyer, is getting a rare Charles Alexander card. It goes all the way back to that. Charles Alexander was the first LSU great with the Bengals. So it's pretty cool that I saw a few Jay Hill jerseys this past weekend. And there's Brett. Speak of the devil. Brett was a huge Charles Alexander fan, and I just spilled the beans that I hooked him up with a Charles Alexander card in his t-shirt order. So once again, the first person that gets the $40 shirt, you are getting a Matt Flynn autograph card. Can't really beat that. I mean, what? Top 50 LSU player of all time, top 5 LSU quarterback of all time. There you go. Dick from Mississippi State. I do not cover SEC baseball, even though I keep up with it. I think it's great. I think SEC baseball is very underrated. I have some strong opinions about college baseball. So there you go. There you go. Rob gets the shirt. So Rob is the Matt Flynn card wearer. There you go. So Rob, dude, before you even know it, Rob is going to have like the entire Rob's going to have like the entire 2011 National Championship team autograph cards. So he got a Craig Stelz card, and Rob, you're getting a Matt Flynn auto, man. You freaking son of a gun. You lucky son of a gun. I didn't want to give out the Matt Flynn auto yet. I was going to wait until we get to around 10,000 subscribers, but I wanted to give it out to someone tonight. There you go, Matt. I appreciate you. Flynn's a goat. A goat. Vegas, man. I can't wait for 2024 PHL meetup. Man, that's going to be so much fun. Whew. So once again, round of applause to Rob, man. I wouldn't be anywhere without the big donations. I really appreciate you, my friend. Besh won't deserve number 7. Christian, what are you smoking, man? Pass it on over. Jack Besh won't deserve number 7? Are you kidding me? Did you not see him have a better true freshman wide receiver season than basically every other true freshman wide? That was definitely the best true freshman wide receiver season since Odell, right? Because most LSU receivers don't have as productive true freshman seasons as Jack Besh. I can't find her. Find my dog, please. If we got Williams who will enter the portal, Nuss, Brennan, or both, both. I think they would, and I would agree with both of them. Right? They're not as good as him, and they know that. Quarterbacks know that, right? So there's just no other way around it. Okay, so look, let me first say this. If you don't believe Jack Besh is the real deal, go back to the Mississippi State game. It's 3rd down. We need the catch. Max Johnson throws as inaccurate of a pass I've ever seen. And Jack Bech got robbed of one of the best catches I've ever seen an LSU wide receiver make. And it's ironic because the catch looked a lot like Jarvis Landry, who wears the same number as Jack Bech. And they're practically the same player, really. They're so similar. Just hard-nosed, physical route runner, sticky hands. Man, I just freaking love both those guys. So, as you guys know, I'm a huge Jack Bech fan, right? I just fell in love with this kid watching him at St. Thomas More. The first time I watched it, I was like, dear God, I'm looking at something really special, a thoroughbred with the ball in his hands. So, yeah, shout out to Jack Bech. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Jack Bech will be number 7 in 2 years. True. Kayshawn's true freshman season was better than Jack Bech, but a lot of that was backloaded, right? So, yes, Kayshawn's true freshman season was better than Jack Bech, but at the same time, Jack was good wire to wire. Kayshawn had a slow start. So, yeah, Kayshawn's true freshman season was better. Dwayne, welcome to the channel. Dwayne, I'm loving the LSU hat here. I hear all about our safeties. What's going on with Derek Davis? He's never mentioned by analysts in our safety rotations. Yeah, it's a good question, Dwayne. And I think it actually goes a little bit deeper. And, I think I discussed this before with Jay Hill last time I was on with him and T-Bob, when T-Bob was filling in on Jay Hill's show. Actually, I don't think it was that. I think it was a different interview. But it is interesting, right, Dwayne? We have seen some out-of-state safeties not turn out to, really be what we expected them to. I don't want to get this too early to say anything about Derek Davis Jr. But, it is interesting because Jordan Tolles didn't play that much. Mo Hampton fell off a cliff in year 2. So, yeah, most of our best safeties have been from Louisiana. But then again, you've had Jalen Mills out of Texas. You've had Jamal Adams out of Texas. You have John Battle out of Florida. So I don't know if it's an out-of-state thing, right? I don't know. It's hard to say, Dwayne, especially since, our coverage schemes were so bad for a year and a half. And Dwayne, if you are new to the channel, I'll say this way. If and it sounds like, I say this over and over, but it's so hard to judge anybody in the secondary when for a year and a half we played man coverage on every snap and never blitzed. It's hard to judge anyone. And you know what? I watched a YouTube channel earlier on Derek Stingley Jr., some draft analysts. Their names are Boom or Bust. That's the name of their channel. I watched their video, and every single draft analyst that's out there is still really high on Derek Stingley, right? Even though, the tape these last 2 years sucked. And the reason why is because we ran the worst coverages. We were so bad defensively with our scheme that it's hard to really pass too harsh of a judgment on anyone. And now we have 2 completely new defensive back coaches and a new defensive coordinator. Now this is a time for Derek Davis and Jordan Tolles to, if they are good enough, to win the safety job. Brad, welcome to the channel. Lots of newbies in here tonight. Okay, so it was a Mario interview. Perfect. Does LSU have the best D-line in the country? No, they're really good. I would say they're number 2 in the SEC, only behind Alabama at this point. Georgia's losing everybody on that line. They do get Nolan Smith back, and obviously Nolan Smith is a really good football player. But, any defensive line that has Will Anderson, even though he's an edge linebacker type, any defensive line with Will Anderson on it is going to be the best, especially now that Georgia's losing, Walker, Carter, and Jordan Davis. So I'll say this, Fred, they have the potential to be the best. And I think a lot of it's going to come down to BJ. I really do. If BJ can play the Josh Allen role in the Madhouse defense, I think we're going to see something really special. And welcome to the channel, Fred. Good to see you. Corey, good to see you. I think I'd rather Caleb Williams over Brennan. I don't think anyone would disagree with you, including Seth. 2 weeks left till signing day. Who do you think will sign to LSU from the high school recruits left? So, yeah, I read Shade's write-up on this a little bit earlier, and, just reading Twitter and whatnot. There could be a scenario where LSU doesn't get another high school signee. And I know that sounds crazy, but it is plausible that that happens. I think Trevante Citizen is leaning LSU. I think Jacoby Matthews eventually signs with LSU. And I do think Harold Perkins eventually signs with Texas A&M. Now, obviously, Danny Lewis is someone that we talk about a lot on this channel. Huge position of need. I do think he also ends up picking LSU as well. Once again, that's just history. Most elite Louisiana prospects go to LSU. But obviously, this is a transition year. So we'll see what happens. I think 2023 is off to a good start. I saw they reoffered Trey Holly, who I think is really good. So I think that's obviously really good stuff. Let's see. What's up, Carvis? Good to see you. Ooh, Jay Hill, I hope you're right. Jamar. So once again, you go to jamarsimeon.com, and if you want that print right there, Simeon has been a longtime supporter of the channel. Go to Jamar Simeon's website, type in Carter, and you'll get a nice discount on this wonderful print. I love it. You can ask Haley when Jamar DM'd me about this, and I don't get anything out of it. Support another artist. When Jamar sent me a message saying, "Hey Carter, I'm a fan of the channel. I want to send you this." I was in a Trader Joe's in Dallas. And I got emotional. I was like, this is so cool. Because I've always wanted a Joe Burrow print like this. And when I got, man, I got emotional. I just did. There was no other way around it. So, Jamar, thank you for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate you, man. Yes, I do have stickers, Jesse. 1 for 10, 2 for 15, 3 for 20. If you don't have booger bands, I'll throw some in there as well. If you would prefer some booger bands. Birdman, third Cam Johnson. God, this is a cold edit right there. Who is that? That's Delpit, is it not? I love a good green Delpit avatar. Rob, so far BK has made decent moves across the board with players and coaches. Once he teaches them, will be good for years ahead. I agree with you, Rob. I've become a little bit more confident with our future. Obviously, there's always skepticism because, I was doing an interview earlier today with Mark Rogers, a really good college football YouTuber. And he asked me about Texas A&M, and he asked me about the other SEC schools. And look, Alabama's going to be so tough to beat. That's going to be one of Saban's better teams, which is kind of scary since they almost won the title this year. So it's going to be tough to beat them in year 1. But year 2, year 3, I think we'll be right there. But the thing that sucks about it is like all these great transfers are going to Alabama. And if you're sitting here now, you might hate Eli Ricks all you want, but you guys know he's going to be a superstar at Alabama. There's just no other way around it. He's going to be a superstar there, right? If he's fully healthy, locked in, ready to go, he's a superstar. And then Jahmyr Gibbs was my number 1 player in the portal, period, and he goes to Alabama. You got stickers. It's our new logo. go. Turn this off right here. Why is this doing this? There we go. I don't know why this is the sample sticker. So we go. Let me get I don't know why I did that. Here we go. This is easier. Boom. This is a new sticker right here. It's on the back of my laptop. I freaking love them. I love the way that they came out. And there you go. Just shoot me a Venmo. Venmo Cash App at Card of the Power. 1 for 10, 2 for 15, 3 for 20. And if you get the 3 for 20 option, I throw in LSU card. Yeah. Okay. So let me, J.O., I hope he's still in here. J.O. calls Eli Ricks Elias Durant. That's still one of the greatest things I've ever heard. I also like Eli quits Ricks. I just do. Poppy! What's good, Nan? Think so far neither is winning the poll. Keep forgetting to type this. Walker Howard's going to bring down the stadium if he stays healthy. Appreciate you, Tracy. Still calling kids quitters. Well, he quit on LSU. I mean, I don't know if there's any other way around that. If you leave a program, you are quitting on the program. That doesn't mean you are a quit her in the negative connotation. No, Eli Ricks is not a quitter. He's still playing, but he quit LSU. Boogie says, I think we're going to land both of them. I like that. I also like the name Boogie. What's going on your hard hat? There you go, Corey. So it's simple. When you buy something off of here, I don't have an online store or anything like that. Send me a Venmo or Cash App at Carter the Power. And then you just email me or shoot me a Twitter or Instagram DM at Carter the Power. And I get your address and I send you that. And once again, with the 3 for 20 option, that is the preferred option. It makes it easier on me, makes it easier on you. What's really cool about the 3 for 20 option is that I include LSU legend cards. So legendary sports cards. So there you go. Yeah, Dwayne, you just sent it to me. So I just got it. No, you're not any issues. Thank you so much, Dwayne. I appreciate you. Dwayne, you get to pick the next topic. Thank you so much. But yeah, I wish Eli, I hope he has a successful career. I was a big fan of his. But when you go to Alabama, you're on a Kevin Durant. The Master Blaster. Carter doesn't wash his rice. Headphones.
Are those the headphones for my iPad?
No. I think they're in here.
I'm going to let the baby stay out there, then you can bring her to bed. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Let's see here. Blessed. Hey, came out. Didn't even say hi to you guys. Hey, didn't even say hi. Would love to see Burton in purple and gold. Yeah, I mean, trust me, they are just kids, right? But at the same time, if you go from LSU to Alabama, you have to know that there's going to be some people that are going to be disappointed about that. And it's not just fans, it's your teammates as well. It's one thing if you transfer from LSU to Florida or LSU to Ohio State, but you went to Bama. Jesse, you got my email. Just email me and we'll work it out. Let's see. Dwayne, thank you again for the Cash App. Let's go to Fred here. Fred's a newbie. Everyone welcome Fred. What has been your overall assessment on the year 2 coaches in the SEC entering year 3? Kiffin, Pittman, Leach, Drinkowitz. What's your stock in each coach? Obviously, the first 2 names are the best. Mike's done a really good job in Mississippi State. I'm still really high on Eli. He just got the defensive coordinator thing wrong. But Eli could have done a better job to work around that this year. Hot take: LSU lands Perkins, Matthews, Lewis, Burton, and Williams. It goes 15-0 next season. Yes, Seth, that is a scorching hot take. That's a take. That is as ridiculous as me saying DJ Welter is the best LSU linebacker of all time. That's what that sounds like there. Now, I hope you're right, Seth. And DJ Welter was a fine LSU Tiger, but both of those things aren't true. But I like your thinking. Brian Kelly appreciates that positivity. So, Eddie, this is a good question, and I brought this up as well. I know it's a few years away, but who made that schedule to play Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia on the road in the same year? So I actually did a video on this, Eddie. I don't remember which video it was, but it was surrounding Walker Howard. So that actually thank you to Trey. Trey hooked us up with a very generous Venmo. Appreciate you, Trey. Thank you so much, Trey. Make sure you comment in here, Trey, so we can actually see your beautiful face, my friend, all the way up in Washington. But who made that schedule to play Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia on the road in the same year? I don't know, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. However, Eddie, there's 2 things about that, right? And then we're going to go to Dwayne Super Chat here, all right? I love that spelling of Fred, too, P-H-R-E-D. We may not have that schedule because of the SEC pod system that is allegedly coming when we get the extended SEC. Now, here's what's interesting about that, Eddie, and I'm glad you brought that up, is that we need to get rid of the cross-division rival rule because LSU also plays Florida that year, and if you're a believer in Billy Napier, I am. I think Billy's going to make Florida solid. Florida's also going to be on that schedule. Ole Miss could still be kicking with Lane Kiffin. I don't think Sam Pittman's going anywhere anytime soon. So, yeah, it's going to be a brutal schedule. But things could change. Now, this is where it gets really interesting about that, Eddie. If you really want to start being a future, I do think that is 2025. You might have to, correct me on that. That's why it's very important that we take advantage of 2023 and 2024 when the schedules just aren't as good. So we'll see. Now, let's change this, Dwayne. I love you, man. I'm actually going to dedicate this next poll question to Dwayne. There you are, Trey. Trey, God, one of our top contributors. Thank you so much. I can't wait to actually meet Trey and his lovely daughter who watches the channel with them. We love our little PHL there. Let's see here. Technology. Let me change your question to this, Dwayne. Dwayne, you are a valuable. All right. B. Riley. Wait. Okay, so Dwayne, this question is for you, man. I want you to know that this question is for you, Dwayne. I really appreciate Dwayne. So every time Dwayne jumps on our stream, he drops a $10 Cash App. That goes a long way. It really does. It goes a long way. Listen, I can see this. I can actually see that. Carvis, I do agree. DRC, where have you been, DRC? You're late with your dolphin photo. But the question here, do you have any idea why Caleb Williams would pick LSU? That's not the right question you should ask, Boogie. Okay. By the way, I love the name. Once again, Boog Forever. The question you should ask, why would Caleb Williams not pick LSU? You're going to have the best receiver room in the country, right? LSU's got the best receiving room going into the SEC next year. I really do believe that. You also got a new coach, new ideas. Why would you not want to come to LSU? I understand. The offensive line, I would be worried about it too if I were Caleb Williams. But you go to USC, be with your old coach, you're going to put up good numbers against bad teams. USC makes more sense, right? Because you know what kind of offense you're going to be running. You know your OC. And that's what Caleb Williams is going to do. He's going to go to USC. But it's not as if it is out of the question that LSU is the better option, if that makes sense. There's a lot to like about LSU, right? The most popular quarterback in college football history is arguably Joe Burrow, right? At LSU. It's kind of crazy. I share this story a lot. I go into a sports card store in Alabama, and everyone in that store was asking for Joe Burrow. This was a year ago when he was injured, right? People just freaking love Joe Burrow. Coming to LSU, being the next Burrow, why not? Why not? Let's see. I think the number 13 is open, too, for offense. Still, let's go to Danny. Do you think LSU is going to have a Michigan State outcome? This is a really good question. I remember when Danny said this, and you got me so mad, Danny. I told Haley about this. She was like, really? Danny, you said something a few weeks ago on a live stream. It sounded so boring. Da, 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 da. And I was like, Danny, you're like one of the smartest viewers. And this is such a good comment about Mel Tucker and the rebuild as far as like the transfer portal is concerned. And Mel did a really good job of that, right? I mean, he got the best running back in the sport last year through the portal. I hope any Breece Hall, Iowa State fans don't come after me about that. But still, do you think BK can Tucker? Yes, absolutely. Let's be honest. Two of the transfers are specialists, right? So, and that's good. Obviously, Brian Kelly apparently is not a Peyton Todd fan. So, you bring in a new punter, and then, of course, you bring in the deep snapper. But, yeah, he definitely can. Now, I do think, Danny, this is going to be interesting. What are we actually going to get out of Noah Cain? Let me ask you this, right? How many of you actually think Noah Cain is the real deal? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Like, I've really, hand on the Bible, I've not really watched a lot of his stuff yet, right? There's just so much to actually cover. And, I started watching some highlights earlier today, but then Liverpool Arsenal came on. And I was like, I got to watch this semifinals. So I watched Liverpool instead of LSU. I hope you guys forgive me for that. But still, but yeah. I don't think Jay Hill's in here anymore, so obviously, I would have asked him about Noah Cain. I just don't know a whole lot about him. So yeah, that's obviously going to be a big transfer. Kyron Lacey comes in at wide receiver. Apparently, he's a pretty good player, right? But where are the snaps going to go? right? Once again, there are only a finite amount of targets. And if I were a consultant in any shape, form, or fashion to recruits, especially at wide receiver, I would say go somewhere where you freaking can play, right? And it's going to be so hard for Lacey to crack that rotation with Malik, Bash, and all those guys, but he could, right? Trey says, I don't know enough about Kane, just remember him being a top recruit. And this is true I hear from Plum, and there's actually been analytical studies that show this, that very few running backs actually move the needle, and most running backs are only as good as their offensive line, which is just true. Your running game has more to do with the holes that are created by the offensive line. Trey, I needed that Venmo. Apparently, Haley used my Venmo to pay for Z's haircut earlier today. Almost can't keep up with your content. That's more of a compliment than it sounds, dude. I'm so excited for spring ball. Kelly killing it, and the portal leaders are coming back. Let's freaking go. So, yeah, I always, there's so much good LSU content that's out there. It's impossible to really watch every single video that I put out. So never apologize for not catching a video or whatnot, as long as you always come back, right? There's plenty of other good LSU YouTube channels out there. Shout out to my guy Blake at Are You Serious? There's just so many good ones. Hunt Hill, we're talking about them earlier in the show, even though I need to get Dwayne Bowe on this channel. Still, there's so much good stuff out there, as long as you guys still keep supporting me, because this is how, I feed my family of 3, right? PLG fishing. Yeah, you're getting into fishing. I like it. Sorry, Carter. Been watching Braden Fajoko Hagas and now I want to run through a wall. It will do that to you. Yeah, Fajoko is just one of the best, coolest tigers ever. That's true. I'd go play in a Mike Leach offense. Let's see. Look, Blanche, you and DRC saying the same thing. Most QBs are only as good as your offensive line. Most offensive coordinators are only as good as their quarterbacks, who are only as good as their offensive line. There you go. Plum says, my analytics were when I was getting smashed in high school, LOL. Pause. Plum, that's a lot of information right there. Oh, man. Plum, I'm messing with you. It's true. You do need a good offensive line, even in high school. Max Kalina, the Big Ten is usually similar in the SEC in the mid and lower tiers. It's at the top. The Big Ten basically has one program. By the way, welcome to the channel, Hummus Hero. I don't know what we're going on here. Is this a bear inside of a kaleidoscope? It looks like a bear, dog, horse mixture inside of a kaleidoscope. Man, that's crazy. I feel like I just ate 3 gummies before looking at that. Welcome. What's up, Rai all the way in Canada? Good to see you. Man, I would love Spencer Ware on this channel. Freaking love me some Spencer Ware. Tracy, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, the chat's pretty fun tonight. Plum, I appreciate you big time. Plum's been with me for a while, guys. For a while. Even though Plum and Jared didn't invite me to come with them to Pasadena. Kelly! Okay, so once again, Seth, the coolest avatar, not LSU related, that we have, given an IV while serving our country. Shout out to you, Seth. Kelly has to say that the transfer portal is short-term to help with the high school recruiting, but as long as there is immediate eligibility, why wouldn't you grab proven players every year? I'm glad you brought that up, Seth, because, so he did the interview, right? The interview during the Kansas State game, And right, you get to pick the next question. By the way, you know what's interesting? Hope all is well for everyone. Go Tigers once again. Thank you, right. I truly believe. Let me see. That Seth that has a point here. That Brian Kelly, during that interview said, I still want to get after high school prospects. And I also think that's just good for high school prospects, right? The transfer portal is not good for the middle tier 3-star kids. There's just no other way around it. Appreciate you, Plum. So Carter, you wearing them lemon pepper steppers like Blake? I actually am wearing Crocs tonight. Let's see. What's up, Sip? Good to see you. I do agree with the running back rotation. Sip, you and I have talked about that before. A lot of it's going to come down to Emory himself. Jimmy, welcome to the channel. I was around when Jim Taylor played at LSU. There you go. Yes. Kelly wants Louisiana on lock. Fred says, who would you like to see in each pod? That's a good question. Fred, honestly, I think the most important thing for the SEC is to get Texas A&M and Texas playing each other every year. I think that's just good for the sport. I think it's good for both schools, actually. And honestly, I don't think either one of those schools are going to want that because, let's be honest, Texas A&M and Texas, they're kind of soft, right? The programs are kind of soft. It's just true. We could agree Texas, even Texas fans would agree that they're a little soft. Okay. The program's been soft since the Mac Brown era. They don't play physical. And honestly, whether it's the Eyes of Texas drama or whatever, it's just such a that's full of just mess, Texas. There's just no other way around it. Whereas Texas A&M, they're always going to be Texas 8-4 until they actually win 10 games and really push for the college football playoff. But Carter, they did in 2020. Yeah. And their best win that year was against Florida at home, which was a good win. Don't get it twisted. Florida was really good that year. But once again, that was a pandemic year. It was kind of weird, right? And, they got to play Arkansas at home instead of the normal neutral site game. They had a lot of things that actually went their way that year. And until A&M actually proves something, I don't believe in them. Even though the recruiting is good enough to win national championships, I just don't believe in them yet. And, the second thing is it's good for both schools. We want you to be challenged by your arch rival. And I just think it's a shame that those two schools don't play each other every year. And it's just a shame. I think all of college football, and I think real fans of Texas A&M and Texas would love to play each other every year. Jesse, it's powerhourlsu@gmail.com. There you go. So let me ask you this, Kurt. As an Aggie fan, the best thing that ever happened to us was getting the HE double hockey sticks away from UT. Why? If Texas A&M and Texas started playing each other every year, it would be the biggest story in college football, right? It would be. And, it just increases your profile because no one right now would say Texas A&M or Texas is a top 5 program, right? If you want to be with the Blue Bloods again, do stuff that creates some buzz for you, and that would do it. We were able to rebrand. Yeah, yes, it's true. You went to the SEC and you're able to rebrand. What have you done? What have you done? I'm just being honest. What have you done? Nothing. Nothing. I'm dead serious. Texas A&M's done nothing. They have underperformed what they've had. They had a Heisman Trophy quarterback. They had Miles freaking Garrett, right? I know it's more than just singular players, but just based on the talent they've had, they've underperformed, right? Even just a few years ago, during those Sumlin years, Arkansas was really bad. Ole Miss wasn't as good. Mississippi State sure as heck wasn't as good. They underperformed. This would be my dream, Fred. Absolutely. That's how it should be done. And honestly, you guys, I've made this point 1,000 times. The worst thing that's ever happened to the SEC is the current schedule. And I think out of all the major sports that we have, the SEC has the criminally worst schedule in all sports. I really do think so. We could be such a better conference if we actually were a conference. You're not a conference if you play the same schools every year and you have a 1 out of 12-year rotation going to all these other awesome SEC stadiums, right? It sucks that only 1 out of every 12 years we get to go to Sanford and play between the hedges. Not between the hedges, but Georgia, where they have hedges, right? It sucks. 1 out of every 12 years, right? A lot of you went to that 2018 LSU Georgia game, but it was probably like 70-30 LSU fans. There was a ton of Georgia fans there because a lot of them won't be alive the next time LSU goes or Georgia gets to go to Death Valley. So, we're not really a conference. We're not. We're a bunch of schools that kind of sort of play similar schedules, but we really don't. And that's why I think the pod system is going to not save the SEC, but make it better. And as an LSU fan, you should want that. We want the most competitive, fun conference as we possibly can, right? I had Kirsten Pittman tell me this at LSU. He said Williams-Brice Stadium was one of the coolest stadiums he's ever played in, right? And that's obviously South Carolina Stadium. We only get to go there once out every 12 years, right? John B., welcome. And A&M will have to spend 2 or 3 times more now that Texas is in our league. It's true. That's true. Put a Jared up here. There you go. Dreco. Is this you smoking this cig? Let's see. Is that a cig? Why is everyone saying Alabama and Auburn will be pushed to the east? I don't think we're gonna have 2 conferences. I think you gotta have 4 with the pods. But once again, it's the SEC, and they're gonna do whatever it takes to make it as easy as it possibly can be on Alabama, right? Good question here by Reed. Is Deion Smith back, and does anyone know for sure? Obviously, you all we know right now is some Instagrams from Keon and Deion up to this point. I peeked it before I came on here. Well, a lot of you sent it to me before this chat began. Obviously, we'd love to have Deion back. And yes, his best performances were against non-Power 5 teams, but the catches he made versus Central Michigan and McNeese were nothing short of incredible. They were really that freaking like, whoa. He looked like Justin Jefferson. He really did. So, it's obviously a good thing. But, the other side of that is, you can only have so many great wide receivers. And you want to tighten your rotation. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it'd be great to have Deion back. And, if Deion, let me put it this way. If Deion went to any other SEC West school, he would catch 50 or 60 passes. So that's the thing. If you don't want to compete, go to another wide receiver room. So yeah, there's no other way around it. Oh, yes. DRC, this is a good point, right? We'll have a payback hopefully planned if Texas ever graces Tiger Stadium. Not necessarily payback because we did beat them the first time, but still, I still want Texas to come to Tiger Stadium. As much as I hate Texas, the Longhorns iconic. It's cool to see iconic brands in Tiger Stadium. A lot of you remember, once again, an iconic brand when Virginia Tech came to Tiger Stadium. That was so freaking cool to me, because, growing up, if you're in your 30s, Michael Vick was the coolest thing, right? Growing up. So it was cool to see Virginia Tech in Tiger Stadium that year. I want more iconic brands playing in Tiger Stadium. And someone mentioned this earlier. Clemson's going to be coming in the next decade, which is really freaking cool, right? A Death Valley, home and home. So, yeah. Carvis is a big Deion fan. Carvis, I love it. Oh, that's funny. Yes. Let's see. Ooh, Nick throwing a horns down. You might get fined for that, Nick. As a Mississippi State fan, I think it has been a great disservice to make us play Alabama, Auburn, and LSU every year. We would have a lot more wins if we were in the East. Yeah, that's just true. You would, right? So, yeah, it is unfair. You're not really in a conference. So I actually agree with this from Dick. While at the same time, we don't have much sympathy because we got to play Alabama every year as well. But I get your frustration. I really do. And once again, there's nothing. It's just how the SEC is. When you sign up to play in this conference and you get the TV contract check, that you're going to get your butt kicked. Barry, welcome to the channel. Oh, man, my heart melts when I see photos of you with your kids. Shout out to all the super moms and super dads of PHL. Carvis, Jason Morgan, Danny, Jared. Got to understand, you're a parent first, okay? Parents first. I love it, Barry. This is a good photo, man. Look at the smiles. Look at the smiles here. You asked about Ali Gay. And also, Barry, welcome to the channel. You know what's funny? Barry, I was randomly thinking, okay, who remembers Brevin Knight? Okay. I freaking loved me some Brevin Knight. I saw Brevin Knight. I said Brevin Knight. You remember the point guard? He played for the Cavaliers and he went to Stanford, right? I freaking love it. I just miss those vintage point guards, those late 90, early 2000 point guards that no one ever remembers. Guys like Bobby Jackson, Mike Bibby, Sam Cassell, Nick Van Exel. Who remembers Nick freaking Van Exel? But anyway, I'm sorry. Andre Miller. Freaking loved it, man. I love those role playing, not all-star level guards, but just really good guards. Bobby Christie. BJ Armstrong. I freaking love it. But anyway, now that Ali Gay has returned back to school, what are your thoughts on LSU's defensive line heading into the fall of 2022? So it's interesting, right? Ali Gay is obviously a really ridiculous talent. So after the Mississippi State game in 2020, which to me is one of the top 10 defensive end performances I've ever seen. Ali Gay was just that phenomenal. Like, he just kept making plays. And we still gave up 623 yards of passing because we kept running the same coverages. So, it goes to show you how bad the defense was. And I don't know how it didn't click in Ed Orgeron's mind that, hey, we still gave up 623 yards through the air, but we had ridiculous pass rush. Maybe we should switch up our coverages. But, for a year and a half, we just kept doing the same thing over and over. Had to bring that up again. still, Ali Gay was getting some NFL love to the point, Barry, that there is a draft analyst by the name of Dane Brugler, and he works for The Athletic. I've met Dane one time at a radio station in Dallas. Really nice guy, really humble guy. And he has tweeted out about Ali Gay a lot. And he doesn't tweet that often. So he doesn't just tweet stuff out for attention, right? So for him to say what he said about Ali Gay lets you know that there are some real NFL scouts that are interested in him, right? Super long arms, has some natural bend, amazing work ethic, amazing story. But he has these injury issues this past year. So the first thing is obviously is Ali Gay's health. The second thing about Ali Gay is how is he going to fit into a new scheme, right? Because he is your traditional 4-3 defensive end, right? In the mold, probably more so of like a Kirsten Pittman or a Tyson Jackson or a Tremaine Edwards, one of those thicker traditional 4-3 ends. Kind of the same thing with Andre Anthony. So, the thing with Ali Gay is where does he actually play if we're let's just say we don't run the 4-3 and we run more of the Dave Randy in Alabama 3-4. Can he step in and play, a 5-4-I 3 tech? Maybe. Can he stand up and give you some snaps? Maybe. So that's going to be the big thing with Ali Gay. Obviously, he's going to put in the work. There's just no other way around it. That dude's an amazing worker and an amazing teammate. But he is still very good, and he's going to help you out in major ways. One thing about Ali Gay that's going to have to work his game is his run fitting. It's not great, but that obviously takes time, and I think Jamar Cain is going to be good for him, a new set of eyes. Now, as far as the defensive line is concerned, look, we've had amazing defensive tackle duos. Kyle Williams, Chad Lavallee is obviously, probably the best we've ever had. And then Dorsey and Favre was obviously legendary as well. And, look, Rashard Lawrence, Tyler Shelvin, and those guys were great too. Now, I think as far as like top end explosive playmaking ability, Jaquan Roy and Mason Smith are right there. Like as far as ceiling is concerned, both of them are right there. And I think both of them will be top draft picks. Then you have Jacoby and Guillory, who's obviously a really solid rotational player. And then, you have BJ Ojolari, you got Philip Webb and all those guys. So, it's a very good defensive line. Where does, the transfer Mekhi Becton fit into that? We'll see. So hopefully that answers your question. Welcome to the channel, Barry. Sorry about my Brevin Knight comment. But when I see B Knight, I get excited. And I know whenever people think basketball B Knight, you think Bobby Knight. No, the greatest B Knight in basketball history is Brevin Knight, baby. Stanford Cardinal. Let's go. Wingo said per Matt House that they're going to be multiple in a 4-3 front that switches to a 3-4. Gay, Roy Smith, and BJ Ojolari, Wingo, Guillory, and Evans. Let's do it. I do agree with that. I do think Matt's going to run a lot of the stuff they do in Kansas City. And the key person in the Kansas City defensive line is Chris Jones. And Jaquan Roy and Chris Jones are practically the same player, right? They're very similar players. Explosive playmaking 3 techniques that can make offensive guards nightmares. So, yeah, I'm really excited about that. I love that defensive line. $95 PHL fam, let's go. Big Mac. No, Big Daddy, what's up? I'm back. Don't miss me. I miss my people. Let's go. Big Daddy. Daniel's got a Spud West web poster. Dude, is he not a beast? Doc Knox switched up the photo again. Yeah, his draft guide is a beast. Yeah, Sip. Let me ask you this, right? Actually, Sip, remind me, I'm going to go to the super chat first. Who do y'all think will step up as team leaders this season? That's a really good question. We can have as many new recruits, portal people, but who can lead this team as a unit together? So, Danny, this is how I've always felt about the team leader thing, right? It's always better if your best leaders are your best players, right? So, obviously, the guy that's going to have to lead us next year is Kayshawn. right? And, there's just no other way around. He's going to have to be our leader. Obviously, your quarterback is always going to be your de facto leader, but Kayshawn's our guy, right? We're not the same without him. He's the best player on the team. Not really a close second, really, at this point. So Kayshawn's going to be that guy. So we'll see. If he's locked in, ready to go, and we get decent quarterback play and decent protection, there's no reason for us to not win some games just by having Kayshawn just on the field. He just does everything. There's nothing he can't do as a wide receiver, right? He's a lot like Jamar, right? They just don't have any weaknesses. So, I think he's going to have to be our guy. Now, after that, of course, you got guys like Mason and Jack Besh and those guys. But once again, you want your best players to be your leader, and our best player is Kayshawn Butte. And then after that, and this is key too, Danny, because you always bring this up as well. Who's going to be the leader on our offensive line, right? Do we have that dude? Do we have those guys that ready? Brian, super chat. Alfred, thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate you, my friend. There's no other way around it. We got to have someone step up on that offensive line and be a leader. Now, on the other side of, and also, the real leader of the offense is Dre Jenkins. So yeah, those are going to be your big guys on offense. On defense, Baskerville is probably going to be that guy. So we'll see. That's a good question, though. Yeah, Jenkins. Honestly, as far as true leadership ability, they always say Dre's that guy. So, let's see. I think that's fair. I can see Dre wearing number 18 for sure. Kayshawn's definitely going to be number 7. Oh, the one night I give Chris Jones props. There just happens to be a Mississippi State fan in here. I'm just kidding. Chris Jones is a real deal. Basketball ain't it. Basketball isn't a leader. We'll see. If he really is a leader, though, it'll go a long way. Miles Brennan will have a great year. If not, he will never go to the NFL. What are you talking about, Eddie? Miles Brennan, we all know the starting quarterback next year. It's going to be Caleb Williams. Let's go. I'm kidding. Let me see. Sorry, but the number 7 tradition has sucked for a while now. A while. So let's see. 2 years? Right? So Grant Delpit wore number 7. He wasn't as good as he was the 2 years prior. But he was actually still pretty good, right? He played through a lot of injuries and he played a new position. And he still won the Thorpe. Should he have won the Thorpe? No, but he should have gotten it his sophomore year. So, you have sympathy for him. Now, Jacoby just wasn't himself. And then obviously, Sting wasn't himself this past year. Maybe if the same thing happens this year, maybe we should retire the idea. Mike Jones is also someone I think could be a leader, right? And honestly, he was a leader at Clemson. The only reason Mike Jones transferred from Clemson is that he wanted to try a new position, and Clemson didn't really see eye to eye on that. And there was just really good linebackers at Clemson, right? They had Trenton Simpson, Skowski, and some other players, and Mike just wanted to go somewhere new. Jones could be a leader for sure next year. I don't see Brennan as a commander of the field type leader. Sorry, don't see it. Wait, maybe it's... Okay, so that's like 5 number 7s in a row not living up to it. Okay, so let's see. 2017 was Chark. 2018 was Giles. 2019 was Delpit. So, yeah, you would say 3 out of the last 4. Honestly, Kayshawn doesn't seem like a leader. Jack Besh, however, I think Kayshawn's a leader. Here's what I'll say is if you go listen to him in the press conference earlier this year, he took full responsibility for practically everything, and he was the only one on our team really playing awesome at the time. So I think that's a good sign of a leader, right? You know, the Chris Paul, put the blame on yourself even though the blame shouldn't be on you type of thing. So I think Kayshawn's a pretty good leader. I do. David, good to see you. Yeah, it's funny. Jonathan Giles. Yeah, and that wasn't his fault, right? Giles couldn't say, no, I don't want it. Yeah, I was a big Drew Sanders guy, but, you know, he went to Arkansas. Matthew and L7. Yeah. I think that's part of it too, right? That, you know, the first 3 people that wore the number were so freaking good. But yes, I'm done talking about Jonathan Giles, so. I don't mind talking about legends. I hate it that Jonathan Giles had to go through that. Are we insane? Just Tiger fans? Look how many people. That's it, Cole. 200 diehard LSU football fans in here, man. Watch. I always say this. This channel is not for you if you're just a casual LSU fan, right? It's not for you. Who's kicking 55-plus yard field goals? It's a good question, Brad. Who will the field goal kicker be? Let's see. I'm trying to figure out who's going to be the next T-shirt club member. Once again, if you get a T-shirt tonight, you're getting an autographed LSU card. We gave out a Matt Flynn card earlier. No 3X yet. Danny was getting on to me about that. The 3Xs were sold out. Hey, Chris, what's going on? It's $40 for a shirt that comes along with a PHL sticker. These are brand new. Also, that also comes with an autographed LSU card. Once again, the next t-shirt, I'm hooking up another autographed LSU card, right? We got medium, large, and extra large. Get that right? Medium, large, extra large, and 2X. We do have 2X. It's true, Danny. It's not my fault that's why I had to, move on from the last year company, because they didn't even have 2X, right? What's your early prediction of the SEC West this year? I got number 1 Bama, Arkansas number 2, A&M number 3, MSU number 4, LSU number 5, Ole Miss number 6, Auburn number 7. I agree with last place. I agree with. I actually have. Bama's no doubt number 1. I do have Auburn number 7. I would go Bama 1, A&M 2, LSU 3, Arkansas 4, MSU 5, Ole Miss 6, Auburn 7. Still pretty early though. My wife told me not to super chat, but as a musician who loves getting tips, I don't care to listen to her. What kind of music do you play, Donovan? When do you think we'll get another natty? Yeah, so, the first thing when it comes to national championships, right? We are not recruiting on the same level as Alabama and Georgia, right? And A&M has moved ahead of us in the recruiting pecking order, right? Now, this next year, we can get back into the top 5, absolutely, especially with all the talent in Louisiana in 2023. But this is the thing you got to understand about national championships is you got to get lucky. You just do, right? 2019, we were very blessed to have a lot of miracle things come together at the right time. Now, winning it in and of itself is not a miracle. We had the best team by a pretty considerable margin in a year where there were a lot of really freaking good football teams that year. So, it wasn't lucky that we actually won it. It was lucky how everything actually came together, right? So you need a lot of luck to actually win a national championship. Obviously, it's not going to happen next year. You could be the biggest LSU fan in the world. It's just not going to happen. So 2023 is going to be your best bet. 2024 also shapes up relatively nicely. So yeah, I would look at 2023, 2024 getting back into the playoff, and hopefully by 2023 you're back to winning 10 games a year. But I do think even if Brian Kelly never wins a national championship at LSU, it's really hard. It's so hard now, right? It's harder than it was when we won it in 2019, and definitely when we won it in 2007, right? Because in 2007, Bama wasn't Bama, and A&M wasn't A&M. We weren't even playing A&M then, right? So you need a lot of good fortune. You just do. So 2023, of course, it's feasible, but really 2024 should be, what you circle on the calendar. Donovan, you have to turn it down. Look at this. Here's what I'll do. Fred, thank you. Hope to see you more often. Let's see. Dangerous Donovan. Very dangerous. Jacob's actually been called out before for a super chat as well. From the wifey. This is so funny, though. Here's the thing, right? Significant others need to support other significant others in PHL. Kind of like Tommy and Tracy were like chatting with each other in the chat. They were watching in 2 different locations. Real PHL couples actually both watched the show and both super chat. So Donovan, what you should tell your wife is, look, this is the funnest thing in the world, giving Gray-haired, chubby Bruno Mars, LSU guy, $5. You should do the same thing, Mrs. Rillion. Did I say that right? Plus, you got the nice wedding outfit. You got the guitar going on. I love it. Oh, your wife's a Tennessee fan? What is this? What is this? What is this? Graham? It's like you're an Oklahoma fan. Good luck. Johnny is all over the T-shirt club. There you go. Appreciate you, Johnny. Already got your address, and there you go. Johnny is the first 2X member of the PHL club. There you go. 2XL and Rob shirt. Okay, cool stuff. Thank you so much, Johnny. I appreciate you. So Doc's wife, Cassie, is commenting for him tonight. There you go. Aaron is here. Let's go, Aaron. Good to see you. Wifey is sleeping right next to me, too. Must tread carefully. There you go. I could see, you guys know the meme where the wife is looking one way and she thinks he must be thinking about other girls. And then Jacob's facing the other way, looking at his phone. Should we get rid of the number 7 uniform? I love that meme so much. Women just think we just think of the other women all the time. No, all we care about is, will Harold Perkins commit to LSU? Is Ruben Randall underrated? That's all we think about as LSU fans. Donovan, what is this Molotov cocktail of SEC fandom in here? I'm from Mississippi. She's from Georgia. We went to school in Alabama, and that's where we met. Then how in the heck are y'all LSU and Tennessee fans? This is crazy, right? Y'all's relationship is just like Drake right now. You're just fans of everybody. I love it. Oh, yes. No. Cassie, the Tennessee fan from the last chat. She hasn't come back. Oh, yes. No. Okay, I get what you're saying, Doc. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Cassie just couldn't handle all the LSU fans in here. Oh, yeah, south of Mississippi. Natchez, let's go. Jared, thank you for the super chat. You must be thinking about other women. I'm over here wanting a pee. I love it. Aaron, I have no idea who you're talking about here. From USC, I just don't. I've been all caught up on the Jermaine Burton thing. The Bama red thing took away a win? Oh, the red. Oh, yeah, whatever. My husband's from Indiana, so I had to teach what football really is, but he had to teach me about basketball. It's crazy, right? That the greatest basketball player in the history of Indiana didn't even go to Indiana. He wasn't even a Hoosier. It's just so wild. I think about that all the time. William, get to see if LSU was in its current form, Firestorm would have liked Kiffin. Ooh, Devin, you're gonna have to super chat for that, man. Giving me my divisional round picks for free, just so you guys can put 1,000 on each one of those teams in a parlay and walk away rich. You're gonna have to super chat for my picks, baby. You can't just jump in here and like, hey Carter, share your NFL expertise. I don't do that. This isn't free. This isn't a handicapped channel, baby. If you want my picks, call 1-800-366-MONEY. That's 1-800-366-MONEY, and I'll give you the number one lock of the week, stone cold lock of the century. Huh? That's what those handicap lines sound like. Let's see. Carter would love a J Hill auto. Any your auto on the sticker? Yeah, I'll hook you up with a J Hill auto. I got quite a few of those. I gotcha. And Rob gets the Matt Flynn auto. That's cool, man. We're big J Hill fans on this channel. Carter's lead pipe lock of the week. So I used to do lock of the week on my radio show, right? And there was one year where I started the year 7-0. 7-0 on my SEC lock of the week. And it was so crazy where like I was walking around one day and it was at like a music festival and someone just handed me 2 beers. And I wasn't drinking that night. And I was like, why'd you give me this? And he was like, locks of the week, baby. So it is crazy when you get hot. I saw my friend Mincy has been really hot lately with his picks. There's no better feeling when you're hot. But yeah, let me see. Who did I like this weekend? I did bet Bengals -6. I don't know. I don't know if I like the Bengals outright versus Tennessee this weekend, though. Can I do a bomb lending tree commercial? Huh? Ebok, what's good, man? Everybody's got a price. All I'm asking for is a $20 super chat, Devin, and I'll give you all 4 of the picks. Got to pay for premium. Yeah, Johnny, I got you on the J Hill auto, my guy. Megan making money. She's from Louisiana as well, I believe. Yeah. Are her picks hot, or do you think she's hot? Because I heard she's really good at making picks. Once again, shout out to her and Mincy. Let's see. So here's what we'll do. I know some of you want to talk the LSU Alabama basketball. I stick to LSU football in here, but I did watch the game. So we'll get to LSU basketball in just a second. Okay. Let's see. Both. Yeah, no, she is beautiful. Well, no one will ever believe your Stacey Dash Doc story. No one will ever believe you. I still don't believe you. PLG, we'll see you Saturday night. Yeah, next live stream Saturday night. Let's see here. Okay, who am I sitting with at the Florida State game? That's all I want to know. That's a good question here. So Arkansas made a good offer to keep Browse there. I'm curious as to why all these Arkansas players are jumping into the portal. This actually is a really good question. Okay. So Arkansas is going to have this rare distinction that they're going to have their head coach, DC, and OC for the third straight year, right? Even though the DC and the OC are very heavily sought after. So why are all these players leaving? Why not? You know, I think a lot of players understand that Arkansas has hit its ceiling, right? You can see under Sam Pittman, Arkansas getting to a Sugar Bowl a lot like Ole Miss did. But do Arkansas's players really believe that they can get to a college football playoff at Arkansas? I just don't think, even though they say those things and they work their tail off to get to that point, I think a lot of players are rather rational about that, right? So, you know, a lot of them are just jumping ship to go to somewhere else. Arkansas is a phenomenal program. They're phenomenal now based on their talent level, and Sam's done a really good job with them. But I don't think it's any coach discomfort or anything. I just think, you know, you win the Outback Bowl, it's really good. That's a national championship level accomplishment for where Arkansas was 2 years ago. There's no one that thought 2 years ago when Arkansas missed out on Lane, they hired Sam Pittman, that they were going to be Outback Bowl champions and they would have won 3 trophies. So, you know, you give them a lot of credit. But why come to LSU this year? We're not winning the national championship. Because a lot of these guys looked up to Tyrann Mathieu and Patrick Peterson, right? Dream if Louisiana defensive you play for LSU, right? Kind of like the kid from Oklahoma State. We haven't talked a whole lot about that kid, the safety out of Evangel. So there you go, Trey. We'll talk soon, my man. I don't think it's that. I just think they were just ready to move on. I do. That Zima. For the record, I drink Michelob Lime Ultra. And this is true. But Bobby P had trouble controlling that letter. And that's that. Where's all that NIL money for Arkansas? You think they'd be able to keep their talented players there? Yeah, I mean, Arkansas's got deep pockets. You know, they're not A&M level, but they're deep. Arkansas's got a lot of money. That Fayetteville region is loaded, right? Really, really loaded. That's Walmart. That's Tyson Chicken. You got a grip on the entire state. Arkansas's got a better grip on the entire state than LSU does on Louisiana, because at least Louisiana's got other pro teams. Arkansas's got nothing, and you know they control the entire state. So yeah, there's plenty of money in Arkansas. You know, there's Fortune 500 companies in Arkansas. But you know, once again, you know, Greg Brooks and Joe Fuchsia, they grew up watching Louisiana defensive backs. That's the dream. Play at LSU. Kobe! Greg, where have you been? That's true. Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer. Yeah, Michael, you should be. McFadden's an all-time great player, right? All-time great. Probably the best running back of post-2000 era is McFadden. What say you, Van Lathan? Welcome. Big congrats to you, Van. I know you got my text. You're my guy, man. You deserve that. I'm so looking forward to that too, man. But yeah, Van, I know you like to come here to talk college football, but that's still cool. It's so freaking cool. Caleb. Let's talk about Caleb Williams. Have I ever toured Arkansas's campus? I have. It's beautiful. It's just Fayetteville's a great place. It's not Baton Rouge. It's completely different, but Fayetteville's incredible. Like, it just is. A lot of my best friends live there. It's just awesome. Van, you got a bunch of fans in here, man, from your interview on here. When am I coming down to the Mississippi Gulf Coast? I don't know. When should I come, Skipper? What are we going to do? Yeah, I get invited to come meet you guys. What are we going to do? Are we going to go fishing? I've been wanting to go fishing. Are we going to go eat steaks? I'm supposed to go have Paris reading time. Donovan, I'm sorry for getting your Tennessee wife angry for your $5 donation. Just for that, Donovan, send me some of your music. Let me know what it sounds like. Donovan, what kind of music? You're a professional musician. What kind of music do you play? Is it John Mayer? Do you play? You're obviously playing an acoustic here. Are you playing some Luke Combs? Are you playing some Bobby Braddock? Crap, who was I thinking about earlier today? Oh, Lenny Kravitz. Are you playing some Lenny Kravitz? Were you playing some Outkast? What were you playing? What kind of music do you play? I want to know. He's playing Sam Cooke. Nuts can kick rocks. Van's in the chat. Oh, sure, Jacob. Jacob's got us on the Chris Stapleton vocals. You could pull off Luke Bryan vocals because that's not hard to do. But Stapleton? Don't think you could pull off Stapleton. His wife's super talented too. Van, you get the next topic. You want to talk about Caleb? We'll talk about Caleb. Okay, let me do this question here. Okay, this is gonna be a spicy question, right? Let's go. Let's do a spicy question because Van's in here now. Smokey Robinson, Aretha Franklin. Oh, look at this. So Donovan is a country musician. I like it. That was me playing a song I wrote for my wife at our wedding. Oh, it's so deep, Donovan. So, it's funny. I was with my best friend Scotty Z in Vegas this past weekend, and Scott wrote a song for his wife at a wedding, and I know how just watching him having to, fight back tears and play the song during the wedding, it's tough. Donovan, that's cool stuff right there, man. But look, It depends, though, right? If you want to get down into the philosophy of country music, I was a country DJ for 5 years, along with doing a sports show and an R&B show every day. I miss the country stuff, but just because of the listeners, not necessarily because of the music. Let's see here. All right, Van, this question is for you. All right. Wait, Jacob, you actually did sing a Chris Stapleton song for your wife at a wedding? Really? Ha, ha, ha. It had to have been Tennessee Whiskey, right? Because then if you started breaking down crying too much, you would have people also be able to lift you up, right? But Stapleton's best song is not Tennessee Whiskey. Only the real ones know Stapleton's best song. Parachute. Parachute is such a great song. Like what goes up must come down. Oh man, it's Parachute is such a great song. It's underrated. I also like it because Stapleton actually wrote it. Tennessee Whiskey was we talk about the song a lot on here, right? What do I not do? If it's media related, I've done some version of it, but I'm so utterly useless in so many different facets. Like I'm so useless. Let's see. I was wrong. I'm not familiar with that one. But Stapleton's a GOAT, right? He's a living legend. I still think his best performance, though, and I know some Stapleton diehards would get after me for this, his best performance was with Justin Timberlake at the CMAs. That performance, you remember where you were when you first saw it. It was that legendary, right? And Timberlake had his own background singers, and there was so much soul in that performance. I get chills thinking about that performance. It was a true transcendent moment in music history, that performance. Just two living gods at their peak. When Stapleton, they did Tennessee Whiskey, and then they did Drink You Away. It's just such a legendary performance. Seriously though, if Miles and Brennan left for Williams, we have an empty QB room again, except for a redshirt backup. Makes the problem not worse, not better. So Jacob and I were actually debating this, before we got on here. And here would be, my retort to this, right? Seriously though, if Miles Brennan left, so here's my idea on the 2 quarterback versus 3 quarterback thing. Okay. You shouldn't worry about it. Okay. You shouldn't, because injuries in and of itself are random. Okay. And you should always aim for ceiling instead of being safe with doing what you think will keep 3 quarterbacks around, right? So here's the thing. You always take one elite quarterback over 2 guys who could be good, right? I don't think there's a single one of you in here right now that thinks that Miles Brennan or Garrett Nussmeier is better than Caleb Williams. I just don't think that there is a single one of you that actually feel that way, right? And the likelihood, once again, Caleb Williams is probably not coming to LSU. He's just not. He's going to go to USC. But I don't think LSU should allow the idea that maybe some of your current quarterbacks would transfer if Caleb Williams were to come to LSU. Because you shouldn't worry about that. You should always do what's best for the team, right? And, if you also fear that Mountain is going to get hurt at LSU, then you're down to 2 quarterbacks anyway, whereas Caleb Williams has not been hurt yet. So that's something else that you also have to factor in as well. You should always aim for ceiling, especially at quarterback, right? You should always go with the quarterback that has that ceiling, okay? Right? So Reed and I rarely agree. So I'll let you know I'm saying something, right? We just had that problem last season with Nuss being a redshirted backup to Max. I can't do that again. But you're still in the same spot, though, right? Redshirt or not, Garrett Nussmeier is still very inexperienced. Walker Howard is still very inexperienced. And Miles Brennan is also relatively inexperienced. Now, by age, he's not inexperienced, but just by games, right? Caleb Williams has more combined starts than any of them. So, you always go for a guy. And let's be honest, if Caleb, here's something else that might sound rather radical, but if Caleb Williams was eligible for the NFL draft this year, he might be the 1.1, right? Just because of his ridiculous upside. Now, I'd be the first to admit that Caleb Williams did have some struggles this year, but at the same time, he was a true freshman quarterback playing with a coach whose head was elsewhere. And, Caleb held his own. Even though your profile photo is so adorable, Williams had his chance to come to LSU. He's not coming here now. Strong disagreement here, right? Just because you don't go to LSU the first time doesn't mean you're not going to come back. Look at our transfer portal right now. If we lose Caleb, we lose 2, and then Walker is the backup, and he wants to redshirt, which means the backup is a walk-on. That's true as well, right? But at the same time, I don't think Walker is going to turn down snaps like Garrett Nussmeier did. And once again, yes, that sucks, but the best interest of whichever player doesn't supersede the best interest of the team, right? And we can all agree that Walker Howard is more talented than Garrett Nussmeier. So I think he would be better served to play right away. And this is also how I feel too. There's no guarantee that Garrett Nussmeier is going to stick around anyway, right? So I understand this logic, but if you have the opportunity to get Caleb Williams, you just cross your fingers and hope that he's going to stay healthy. But here's the thing. You do that with every quarterback anyway. Every level, you hope that quarterback stays healthy. It's crazy. So Pegasus, Reed, and me agree on this. I never thought I'd see the day. Yeah, Roger, this will never exist again. Best to have 4 QBs from each class, but that is a luxury. It's just that's just never going to exist. You saw this with Quinn Ewers, right? He packed his bags and immediately went somewhere where he could play. So that's just how it's going to be, right? You're never going to have. It's going to be hard to see a society where 3 scholarship quarterbacks are going to be on the same team. It would have to be what LSU has now, which is a very experienced guy, and then 2 freshmen behind him that know it's better served for them to not start right away. And I agree with Coach Smith here. Once again, it's crazy that we are all in agreement. The people that normally disagree with me, which is fine, we're all in agreement. Yeah, that's true. There's no debating that. Plus, also, to be honest, I also think the offensive coordinator, Jeff Lebby, preferred Dylan Gabriel because they had a relationship back at UCF. Ricky Collins. No. Pegasus, no. Here's a good rule in life, right? If you've never made $1 million, but you have the opportunity to go make $1 million, even if you're not ready for that opportunity to make $1 million, you go make that $1 million, which is what it was rumored what Quinn Ewers was actually making from the sponsorship deal. You always go get that money, right? You just always do. Quinn Ewers made the right decision, and every single one of us would have done the same thing, right? Now, if Quinn Ewers' family had a ton of money, then maybe you rethink that. I don't know if they do or they don't, but he definitely made the right decision. You've got to make your money, right? You do what's best for you. It's just a good rule in life. You do that. If you have the opportunity to make an amount of money that is really life-changing, you go do it. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if people don't agree with it, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I understand life isn't all about money. It's not. Not at all. But if you get that opportunity to make that life-changing money, you just got to do it. Secure the bag. Tighten your circle after you do that too. In the words of Charles Barkley, the only person he would give money to is his mama. A.T. Daniels to LSU. How many different ways can I say no to that? Right? I just don't. I don't see it. I would rather Miles at that point. They're the same quarterback, and I think Miles is better. Right? It's just how I feel. And this is true as well. Hard pass on JT. Hard pass. This is also true as well from Reed, right? And it's rare Reed makes this many great points in a row. Look at you, Reed. This is just a simple truth. That changes a lot as well because I'm from a media background, so I understand how a lot of this works. And I've also been fortunate to work with ESPN producers on a project before. And the one thing that you see in college basketball as well as college football, the one thing that you will always see ESPN push is the draft, okay, for 2 reasons. The first is that they own the rights to the draft, and the second is the draft generates a lot of clicks. So many of you look at mock drafts. Every time I see a mock draft, I click it. I just do. I read every single one of them. I freaking love it, right? So it's good for LSU to get Caleb Williams, and it's good for your brand when you have elite, top-ranked quarterbacks at your school. It changes everything, right? And look, a lot of you were frustrated with this. I know I was as well. ESPN overhyped the Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence thing. When one quarterback had been way overhyped, Trevor, and the other had been, honestly, Joe was very underrated in many ways. And I know he won the Heisman. I know it sounds like very biased, Joe Burrow underrated. But he was underrated in the sense that Trevor Lawrence was in the same sentence as Joe Burrow when they shouldn't even have been on the same stratosphere. Justin Fields had a far better year than Trevor Lawrence. I could understand a Fields versus Burrow matchup or breakdown or whatever, but Trevor, his numbers were nowhere close to Joe's that year. He had 2 300-yard passing games. Joe had 2 games where he didn't throw for 300 yards. It wasn't even close. But you heard that leading into the game, right? It wasn't LSU versus Clemson. It was Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence. And it does matter, right? It does. So that's a good point, Reed. It really is. Kaiser. My only Manchester United fan. See Liverpool won today? Oh my God. I just looked down at my phone. Penny Hardaway lost another game. We're talking about 90s basketball earlier. Penny! You're crushing me. Huh? Well, there you go. Ooh, Seth. That's a sexy opinion. I hope you're right. JT Daniels actually has more tangible evidence of succeeding than any QB we have on a roster. Okay. Let me just look this up really quickly. All right. That's true. You know, Daniels' numbers is actually pretty good. But if you look at stats like ADOT and average advanced completion percentage and a few other things SEC StatCats brought up, it doesn't paint him in the best light, but we'll see. I don't want that. Oh, yeah, we're past 2 hours. So we'll keep this going for the next 5 minutes. And if you super chat, we'll keep it going. If not, I'll answer as many questions as possibly can in the next 5 minutes. Here. There he is. Transfer portal has changed college sports. Yeah, Coach Smith. I totally agree with that. You know, I saw Parker at Stats of War make a good point earlier today. We don't know yet if Van wants to keep it going, so we're going to keep it going. We don't know yet if the transfer portal is actually and Coach Smith, I'll do a new poll question here. I'm kind of surprised that this poll question ended up. Van, let me know if you were surprised by this. 2 out of every 3 of you said you would take the Caleb Williams trade for Nuss and Miles Brennan, right? I like that. I like that you guys are being bold out there. Seth, I like it too. Miles does have a deep ball. That is a beauty. His throw to Terrace versus Missouri is still one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. All right. Wait, what was the pause? What did I say? What did I say that deserved a pause? What did I say that deserved a pause? Was it this? Brendan's arm's going to be sore? I love a good pause. Whatever happened to the 4-power conferences conversation? A 12-team playoff makes more sense if that happens. So, Jacob, this is interesting, right? So you bring up the 12-team playoff. I'm kind of warming up to the idea. I know it goes against everything that I believe. Oh my God, Kaiser. I should never have brought Manchester United fans. They'll pay for them to do their United chants. I did get to meet Sir Alex Ferguson. That was one of the coolest moments of my life. I still remember like it was yesterday. I remember when I met him, I was like, I'm never going to get to do anything as cool as this again. Shout out to Manchester United. Shout out to Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Ruud Van Nistelrooy. All the great Man United players. And then you want to go vintage. How about some Eric Cantona? Brennan deep balls. Pause. Deep balls. Is that really a pause though? Brett. Would I take Caleb over Miles and Nuss? So I love Miles and Nuss. And I think both of them will be productive college quarterbacks. And I would love both of them to stick with LSU. But you guys are here for me to be honest about the team. And the answer is yes. Absolutely, you do. And you don't think twice about it. If we were doing a draft of college quarterbacks for next year, Caleb Williams is going number 2, no worse than number 3, right? So Bryce Young's going consensus number 1, then CJ Stroud at number 2, and then Caleb Williams number 3. Okay? I don't know if there's anyone else that I would take over those 3. Bailey Zapp, maybe? I don't know. I don't even know if he's done at Western Kentucky. That's a pause in New York. Pause. Ah, Skipper. I like that. Now that would be awesome. I think Miles stays if Caleb comes. Hey Clay, I really love Miles for getting Caleb for 2 years, followed by Walker would be a dream scenario. Exactly. But I still think Caleb Williams is going to USC. I do. We shall see. You guys want to know who my sleeper quarterback in 2022 is? Okay. And he's currently uncommitted. And I understand LSU can't go take a chance on him, right? Because you got Walker. But there is a kid who I flat out love out of the state of Arizona, and his name is Adrian Lara, right? He's like the 40th ranked quarterback. So I was actually talking about Van. Van and I were talking about this privately about a month or so ago. And Van, I think you remember this conversation. So there is a gap between high school football statistics and your actual college rankings. So, take Jack Besh, for instance. Jack Besh's high school numbers were so dominant, and he did it against like really good football players. So, Jack Besh did it against U High and Central High. So, like, or Catholic High, like really good programs. So, that was part of the reason why I thought Jack Besh was going to be really good is because he dominated and went up against like Division I or just really good football programs or really good coaches. So, one thing we don't take into account is the actual high school stats. When you go look at a recruit's recruiting profile, you don't actually see their high school stats. And Adrian Lara's high school stats in Arizona were really freaking good. Now, he's not explosive. He doesn't have like a big arm. He doesn't have legs for days. But it's just really good. And I kept watching it over and over, and I was like, okay, so he's throwing with anticipation. He broke, I think, Spencer Rattler's records, and he's currently just sitting there uncommitted. I think he's visiting Kansas State. I don't know, but I think he's really good. But, that's a scary thing about quarterbacks. You never really know. You just don't. Caleb is a USC lock. I think so, too. Here's the thing, that DC to Oklahoma to LA jet lag, it's pretty crazy. That's kind of a crazy, like, move. Going from DC to Norman to LA. Talk about 3 different cities. I love it. I know, Reed. So Arizona's put out some really good football players. But that Adrian Lara kid, I was like mesmerized by his high school tape. I was like, this kid can really freaking play. Yeah, Kaiser, you don't have to worry about that. I just don't think you have to worry about that. I know A&M's finally got some good receivers now. Evan Stewart and Chris Marshall in their class. Just don't worry about it. I don't think you're going to get 7 sacks on Max. I don't think he's starting next year. Is Caleb coming on a visit? No. Well, we honestly don't know what's actually happening. This was all spurred by one report from Dean Levens. I'm just saying it's worth trying. Even if he's negotiating to get a bigger deal out of USC, I just love the fact that players are going to start leaking to reporters that they're interested in other schools just so they can get more money, just like coaches have done for the longest time. There's just something really funny about that. It just is. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, Reed, I'm glad you're on the Adrian Lara train. Just remember this. We were the ones that called him, man. That kid can freaking play. Interviews well, does all the right things. Freaking love that kid, right? Yeah, Michael, that DB from Shreveport. I'm all about it, baby. Let's go. So Kansas State looks like that's where he's going. I'll pull him up right here. Okay. This is my guy right here. This is my guy. He's pulling a Lincoln Riley. What if Lincoln Riley was the one that told, hey, Caleb, look, if you just leak that you might go to LSU, it worked for me and it might work for you. Now I am a little worn down. I'm still a little jet lagged from Vegas. I don't know why. If we get Caleb Williams, I'll cry tears of joy. You go right on ahead, KMC. You cry. Yeah, y'all tell me about this Texas running back. I don't know who you're referencing. He's a 3-star back out of Texas. No. No Arch Manning chat tonight. I'm sorry. What is this? I'm just showing Adrian Lara. So I'm not saying that he's coming to LSU. I'm just telling you that this is my sleeper quarterback. I'll stop sharing. If we got Lara in his name, that'll be a disaster for the state of Louisiana. Hurricane Lara 2020, my ex from elementary and junior high, Lara Sharp. So at first, I thought the reason why I giggled is I thought your ex's name was Hurricane Lara. I thought she was so destructive that her nickname was Hurricane Lara. By the way, you punctuated that. But no, of course, Hurricane Lara in 2020 sucked. But my ex from elementary and junior high, Lara Sharp. Now, why on earth would you include her last name? Why? Travante Citizen, yes or no? Let's change the poll question really quickly. Why would you include her last name? Lara Sharp is probably married and hanging out with their kids right now, and she's probably wondering why she's getting so many Facebook random requests, and all of you are messaging Lara Sharp right now saying, hey, why'd you leave TRU back in middle school? He loved you. Y'all were meant to be. The DB from Oklahoma State and Shreveport. Yeah, you could play. I think Travante Citizen will end up at LSU. I do. You want to know why? It's because Frank Wilson has been on top of that. Earl Perkins. Citizen. Perkins. All right. New poll question is up for Van. Harold Perkins is a no. I would love it. I looked her up on Facebook. Glad she dropped you. Aaron says yes to Perkins and Citizen. I love it. Yeah, it's true. Jay Clay. Oh well, they're 8-4. Jacoby Matthews is a yes. I do think he ends up committing to LSU because his friends play for LSU. I really do think so. I think, two of his closest buddies are Welch and come on, our guy at LCA, Jordan Allen. And look, there's also his good friend Bryce Anderson, who went to Texas A&M, who was once an LSU commit. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what Jacoby's thinking up to this point. I do hope he chooses LSU. Chris 606. Andrew Paul, I got to check him out. Let me write his name down. Andrew Paul. Love it. Dang, TRU is just airing out his dirty laundry. My goodness gracious, man. There's a crisis hotline for that. Bryce, welcome. Good to see you. I think it's the best case to be realistic. We get one or the other. Hope so. Perkins would be smart to come here day one starter. I do agree. I don't think he'd be a starter, but he'd play a lot. Auburn for Citizen, I could see that. I could see Auburn for all of them, to be honest. Outside of Matthews, of course. The big thing about LaTerrence Welch, guys, is his health. He's been so banged up these last couple of seasons. If he's healthy, though, he's going to play a lot. He's really good. Matt Azima or Lime Beer. Yeah, NRMN, I just learned about that Rutledge kid. I read Shay's report on him, that kid, the sprinter from Texas. We'll see. It's crazy. Like, he doesn't even have a composite score. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't play football and run track at LSU, but I also know he's interested in just focusing it on track. Wait, who's saying burn the Crocs? Oh, Danny, are you kidding me? Should Carter drink a more manly beer and burn his Crocs, or stick with this light lime girly beer and rock the Crocs? Oh, man. I'm a lime beer guy. I had to drink Stella this weekend. Really? Stella Artois? Actually, I liked it. I like Stella. Also like the movie How Stella Got Her Groove Back. Good movie. Not as good as a thin line between love and hate, starring Lynn Whitfield and Martin Lawrence. If you haven't seen that classic film, you need to. Louisiana legend Lynn Whitfield. Burn the Crocs? Blasphemy. No, where have you been? Rock the Crocs. No, it's not even Christmas anymore. You could change your photo. Noah has the best photo of his lovely son watching one of my film studies. There you go, Skipper. Real men have fruit in their alcoholic beverages. Okay. Also, I took a sip of High Noon. High Noon was okay. Yeah, Reed, I know he feels bad about that. I think Derek Mason's actually going to stay at Auburn. I do. I know Oklahoma State is in the running. Captain, where have you been? How much of this transfer portal success will transfer to success on the field? 9 times out of 10, a player is the portal means that something went wrong or they were at the wrong level. So the funny thing about that, Captain Kenneth, is that's not necessarily true, right? It's not true. I mean, Greg Brooks and Joe Fuchsia were fine players at Arkansas. Did they get burned at times? Yeah. Were they inconsistent at times? Yeah. That doesn't mean they were bad. Miles Frazier was an All-American at FIU. The Mackay kid, the defensive tackle out of Missouri, had a really good true freshman season. So I will say this, Captain Kenneth, none of the transfer portal players that are coming over are like a can't miss Joe Burrow, Jabril Cox type of producer at their last stop, but they were still really good football players, right? So, I don't think any of the transfer portal guys are like going to be all-time great LSU players, but that's not what we're looking for. With a roster that had not even 40 guys ready to go for the bowl game, at this point, you kind of just need bodies. You just need playable guys. And here's the thing about the 39 players that actually played in the bowl game. Not every single one of those 39 guys are playable, are good, are playing the right position, right? How many of the 39 guys that played during the bowl game that are actually going to play for us next year? Okay, the wide receivers, all right. Then, not the quarterback for certain, not the running backs that played. Kiner will play. And the offensive line, not really either. Then you got the defensive side of the ball. Roy, Smith, BJ. That's about it. Then at linebacker, Xavier Carter, Penn, and Mike Jones. And then in the secondary, I don't know if any of those guys that played in the secondary for the bowl game outside of, Sage Ryan didn't play in the bowl game, or did he? But still, there's not many people from that secondary that are going to play. So we needed a roster overhaul. We needed guys that we could just trust to go out there and give us snaps. And if some of them turn out to be spectacular players, cherry on top. Then we're getting Ollie Gay back. Never drunk alcohol in my life. Osbury didn't win LSU, grew up around. Yeah, I could see that. Well, there you go. So, once again, you guys thank Van for keeping this live chat going, and we'll do it again. So, I'll answer as many questions, and boom, Noel decides to keep the live chat moving along, so we'll keep hanging out. Thank you so much, Noel, for your generous donation. Henry McKenna Bourbon. All right, Noel, you get to pick the next topic. The only position that needs more experience and more depth is cornerback. I think everywhere in the secondary actually does. Obviously, you cross your fingers that Ray Darius Jones turns out to be who we think he could be. He had some good film this year. You know, there were some good snaps. Dwayne, I enjoy you, and I appreciate your cash apps. Every time you watch, you drop a $10 cash app, and I really do appreciate that. I really do. Danny is not a troublemaker. Even though she calls my beer Zima. I was wondering why Osbury went to Auburn. Yeah, you know, sometimes you just want to go somewhere else, right? You know, for me, when I grew up in Arkansas, I wanted to go to LSU not only because it was home, but it was also something new. Like I'd never gotten to live in Baton Rouge before. But you know, I was close to graduating, and then I said, "Look, I don't want to be in Baton Rouge anymore." So I moved to Washington D.C. And sometimes people need a change of scenery, and that's the case here. I know, Jacob. I felt bad. I felt they punished him a little too much for that penalty. I'd have liked to have seen him play more. Yeah, the DB from Oklahoma State. Pretty cool stuff. Didn't you hear, Danny? I got an advertising deal with Zima and Crocs, so be ready for it. Yeah, it makes sense. Let's see here. Put this on. There you go, Noel. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. $1 super sticker. Pels won again tonight. Only truth bets I see are Bama, maybe Arkansas, and Ole Miss. Wow, Antonio's like, well, look, Texas A&M, they may actually suck next year. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, what actually happened? I'm trying to remember the Ray Darius Jones. I know he made like a big play, and then he stood over the guy. Like Allen Iverson versus Teron Lude, that guy. Scooby, every time Perkins gets in front of a camera, he looks very mature. All about me leads me to believe wherever he goes, as soon as the coaches attempt to reel him in, he's portal material. Could be the case, right? When he did the interview and said, Brian Kelly tried to reach out to him, but he was busy with school pictures. that was it did rub me the wrong way, if I'm being honest, right? But once again, he's only 17, 18, whatever. So, you don't get too mad at a kid for not being great at interviewing. However, I was listening to an interview with Nakobe Dean and Louis Sine and at the Under Armour All-American game like 4 years ago. And like their interview was like unbelievably impressive. I tweeted it out a while back, and they were talking about how they wanted to lead Georgia to their first championship, and they were the recruiting class that was going to be the difference, and they actually spoke that into existence. So it's noticed. I think we could come out third in the West next year because our D-line will keep us in every game and give us a fighting chance. A&M's going to be a 7-win team. 7-win. Where does that house tried to meet with Perkins and he was a no-show? Okay. As long as we don't come out equal to Vandy again, I will be okay with that. Via Zoom. Very interesting. Well, there's nothing you can do with that. You also kind of hope the Bills beat the Chiefs so Matt House can do the LSU thing with a little more focus. So there you go. Well, all right, guys. We'll keep this thing going. Once again, 5-minute check. If we get another super chat, we'll keep this thing moving along. Well, all right, guys. Bengals versus Packers in the Super Bowl? Oh, Jesse, that would be your dream matchup. You got to look good for the class pictures, baby. D-line U, let's go. Let's go, Kobe. I'm excited, man. Mike Jones. Yeah, I know. This is crazy. All right, guys. Saturday night, we will see you there. And it should be a lot of fun. I'm going to try and pump out a video tomorrow. I do have a few calls tomorrow. Pretty busy day. So we will for sure be live streaming on Saturday night. And eventually we'll get into our Brian Kelly deep dives once this signing period is over. Ed S. Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me actually look at something really quickly. What time did Bing play Saturday? Let me see. Okay, so they play at 3:30. So yeah, we'll live stream at 7. Joseph, thank you for the generous Venmo. I really appreciate you, man. So yeah, we'll still go. We'll still go our normal 8 p.m. kickoff start, because I didn't want to compete with Joe Burrow, but they play the early game on Saturday. So it is Power Hour LSU. Boom. Rick. No bueno. Get it? No bueno. No, I think we have a shot at Burton. And tonight, oh yeah, we're doing gumbo tonight. Let's go.